For hundreds of years, there have been strange and unusual disappearances in the wilderness. Some people have fallen prey to these circumstances. Hikers, explorers, campers, backpackers, and sometimes even highly experienced wilderness experts and hunters, some of whom have fallen victim to what we now will call the wilderness mysteries. Tonight, we will examine some of these cases. Thank you for watching. Bart Schleyer's love for the outdoors began as a child. He learned to hunt and was taught to respect nature. This fueled his fire and his desire to learn more and do more as he became an adult. Bart became an animal expert not only through his experience in nature, but he attended college, where he graduated with a degree in biology. He soon became world-renowned as an animal expert. Bears in particular was his specialty. Bart soon found himself traveling the world, using his expertise to help out wildlife preserves all over the world, actually. Bart was regarded as the ultimate outdoorsman. Some even said a modern-day Daniel Boone or Paul Bunyan. His physical prowess was phenomenal. The man would go on 20-mile hikes only to come back and do a workout regimen, lifting weights and such. Bart was also a bow hunter and had been on several solo trips, so it came as no surprise when the 49-year-old hunter and animal expert took a trip on September the 14th, 2004 to the Yukon in the Red Lakes area. He rented a float plane and set about his journey. Bart had intended for his hunting trip to take no longer than 2 weeks. In about that time, the float plane would return sometime around October the 2nd or the 3rd. Bart intended to hunt moose in the Red Lakes area of the Yukon. As an interesting side note, there are those that would say that later on, they didn't understand why Bart chose this area, as there were limited amounts of moose. This would also further the mystery later on. Bart Schleyer was an extremely intelligent man, very tough, very resilient, and well equipped for his trip. He left no stone unturned, as he knew he would be out there 2 weeks in the wilderness in a remote area alone by himself. Fast forward, 2 weeks later, October the 2nd, 2004, the float plane returned, on schedule, on time. After securing the float plane, the pilot proceeded to walk towards Bart's campsite. As he approached the campsite, he got a creepy feeling, as he told reporters later. The campsite was well set up, but deserted. He just had a feeling that something was not quite right. Something was very, very wrong. It should be noted that initially the RCMP was called and they merely did a flyby at first. So 6 of Bart's friends hired the float plane to go back out. Upon going back out, they found evidence that required them to call the RCMP and the wildlife experts. After authorities arrived and saw the suspicious nature of the evidence in the campsite, they set out in a search pattern of the area to see what other evidence they could gather. It did not take authorities long to find the other evidence they were looking for and needed. Bart's backpack and bow and arrow set were found by a tree, along with his pants and, alarmingly, bone shards and bits of blood. His hunter's mask was also found with traces of blood in it, as was his skull cap later. An immediate investigation began, as on the surface it seemed that Bart was murdered or perhaps attacked by a wild animal. However, to confirm that this was Bart's remains, his remains were shipped off to a lab where they would be tested and analyzed. Unfortunately, the remains were confirmed to be that of Bart Schleyer. Now here's where the water gets muddy. Initially, the RCMP believed that Bart was killed by a bear. However, the wildlife authorities did not agree with this finding. No other evidence could be found of an animal attack or other human-based footprints. So the question begs, what killed him? What killed Bart Schleyer? Please keep in mind that Bart Schleyer was a highly intelligent man, very, very experienced. This man started from childhood on into his 49th year of life, college educated, very experienced and very knowledgeable about apex predators and the outdoors and the wilderness. This was not some day hiker. This was not some guy from the city or some inexperienced person that wanted to just play around with camping out in the wilds of the Yukon Territory. As I mentioned before, people wondered why Bart chose this area, as there were very little moose. But that begs the further question. What could take out a powerful, strong, intelligent wilderness expert, such as Bart Schleyer? What could possibly sneak up on this man and kill him and leave no trace? Perhaps we may never know. But our prayers and thoughts go out to him and his family. Thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this show. There will be more to come. God bless you and good night.